What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Oh, shoot. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to hear me because my mic is not hooked up. We will be discussing ADHD and meal planning. This is Module 4 of your In My Nutrition and Wellness course on Human Talk. So, if you are in my course, I'd love to know if you did the work from last week out of the workbook. How did that go? And all of those things. Y'all, one week, this is gonna run smoothly. It's gonna run smoothly. If you're coming in, welcome to the live. We'll be getting started in just a second. If you're watching on YouTube, hello, welcome. I don't know. Okay. All right. If you're on YouTube, please let me know you can hear me. I don't know what happens to my camera, so this is what it's looking like tonight. However, we are going to go ahead and get started. So, anybody in here new to my lives? Regina, Andrea, thank you. Welcome to the live. Okay. So we are in week 4. We are talking about meal planning with ADHD. And our goal for this session is to kind of help you to be able to learn how to create flexible meal plan, a meal planning system that reduces like fatigue, because with ADHD, sometimes meal planning can get super overwhelming and we just kind of avoid it at all costs. I know if for me, I don't like the whole process of meal planning. It takes a lot of mental energy, and it's not really fun. So there's that dopamine aspect where it's not enjoyable. So this system will kind of help to make it easier. It may not be extremely enjoyable, but from last week, we talked about the importance of getting in certain food groups, certain types of foods and things like that. So this week, we will learn how to meal plan to be able to implement keeping our nutrition where it needs to be, getting those food groups in that we need, proteins, the fibers, carbs, things like that. so that you can nourish your brain the proper way. You always have healthy options available. Those options that we talked about last week, they will be readily available. So planning is actually very important. And I think changing your mindset about meal planning is super important. You have to look at it more of a self-care activity versus a task, because especially if you have ADHD or any other really mental health condition, and you are trying to holistically manage your condition through healthy foods and things like that, it is self-care. You have to do the little work ahead of time so that you are prepared in those moments where you're reaching for snacks, you're seeking the dopamine, you're needing an energy boost. So having what you need available is really, really important. All right. Now you have to make room for imperfection. We're not looking to be perfect. This is a process. This is not supposed to happen overnight. So just give yourself some grace. I talk about that all the time. All right. So if you ever bought groceries and you had all the good intentions, you went to the store, you got all the fruits and vegetables, you had great intentions on making healthy foods for the week, and then they sat in the fridge and they rotted, this session is definitely for you. It's not necessarily about doing what's right, but just building a system that works for your brain and not against your brain. So most traditional meal planning advice, it does not work for us, right? When you have ADHD, planning is not something that comes like second nature. So traditional meal planning usually asks you to like plan your whole week of meals ahead of time. You have a grocery list that you stick to week by week. You have to cook, either spend a huge chunk of your time cooking consistently every single day, or you are taking a huge chunk of your time on like 1 or 2 days out of the week, and you're using that time for prepping and planning. That is not good for the ADHD brain, because our brains thrive on being able to be flexible and not rigid. So if you are a woman who works, who's a mom, who, has a social life, you deal with stress and expectations from other people on a regular basis, then meal planning can start to feel like another thing that you just have to add to your plate. One more thing that you are not going to get right for yourself, right? So ADHD, it impacts our time blindness. So you think about maybe a task that you want to do. In our minds, that task will only take a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, when in reality, it's a 45-minute task. Task initiation is something else that we struggle with. So you want to meal plan, you want to get up and you want to cook, but it's really hard for you to get up and start to do that thing. Or your memory, you forget, right? You planned all this stuff out and then you kind of forgot what you planned. So in this session, we're kind of going to drop all of the pressure around time blindness, task initiation, and your memory, and kind of help you to come up with a rhythm on how you can meal plan. All right. So reframing your meal planning as a support tool. What does that look like? What is that supposed to do? So what if meal planning wasn't like sticking to a list? Or what if it meant just creating a few go-to anchor foods, some things that you always have available to support you every day? So in those moments where you don't have the mental energy, in the moments where you don't have the time or the desire to go the extra mile and maybe cook something that you had initially planned, what can you fall back on? That's your anchor foods, right? So think about it like planning, like trying to figure out what you're going to wear. You don't need to know what you will wear or what you're going to wear like 2 weeks from now, right? But you probably have like your favorite pair of jeans, you have your favorite sweatshirt, you have the hat that you're going to wear in case your hair is not where it needs to be. When you're feeling fancy or you feel like you want to dress up, you have like that staple dress that you could just throw on and look put together. So things like that, you have those pieces in your closet that you can always fall back on if you are not in the mood to really put in effort to think about what you're going to put on, right? So meal planning is the same way. You basically have to have things that don't require a lot of energy available. So when we're thinking about ADHD meal planning, we're going to create like a pyramid, right? So at the top of the pyramid, you're going to have your grab and go foods. So that's going to be like protein bars or protein shakes. You can get the ones that are already pre-mixed in the carton, or if it doesn't take a whole lot of energy for you to just throw a couple scoops of protein powder in a blender with some milk, have that readily available. Maybe you always buy a rotisserie chicken every week, so you can chop the chicken up and have make different wraps and things like that with that. Smoothie packs in the middle. Okay, so the top is the foods that require the least energy, right? In the middle, you're going to semi-prep, right? You're going to have things that might take a little bit of energy, but not too much. So salad kits, pre-cut vegetables. Maybe you take a time on a Saturday or a Sunday and just pre-cut vegetables that you have that you can pick on throughout the week. Microwave rice. I have that at my job. I have the little packets of microwavable brown rice that I could just stick in the microwave at work, and put some salt and pepper on it. And that's just something that I can quickly eat that is satiating for me because it's a carb, so I enjoy it. But it's a healthy carb, it's fiber. So things like that. So that'll be like your middle of your pyramid, right? And then at the bottom of your pyramid is going to be the things that require a lot more energy for you to cook. So foods that you're going to cook from scratch or meals that you're going to prepare for the week, when you have that energy. So if you have ADHD, you know that you have days where you're just not feeling it. And then you know that you have days where you feel like you can do 10 billion things at one time, right? So on those days where energy levels are high, you have those meals planned where you can actually cook whatever you want from scratch. All right. And last week you were supposed to kind of prepare or make some meals, create some different types of meals, dinner, breakfast, lunch. So hopefully you have like some maybe middle semi-prep meals and some high energy meals that you can cook like on a day where you don't have a lot going on. So planning isn't about doing more, it's about doing less of what drains you. So it's like saving energy. Planning is going to save energy in the long run, right? You want to put that energy in the bank. So take the time to plan. All right. So what are some tools and templates for ADHD meal planning? We're going to walk through 3 different meal planning styles that work well for people who have ADHD. And we're going to choose what fits and leave the rest. Okay. So whatever works for you, you're going to take notes or take what is good. And then whatever is like, nope, that's not going to work for me. Leave it on the table. Right. So take time to create a visual menu of about 10 to 15 meals that you know that you like to eat and that you already know you know how to prepare. So it's not that you have to overthink. You don't have to look up any recipes. These are like staple meals that you probably have cooked over and over again over the years, and it's a fallback. So for me, that's like spaghetti. I always can fall back on that. I always can fall back on like sheet pan sausage and peppers. I can always fall back on some chicken thighs with rice and beans, with some Brussels sprouts, like things that you know how to cook. You don't really need any instructions to do so, right? So those are 10 to 15 meals that you already like and you know how to make. And then you're going to break them up into categories. So you're going to have your breakfast meals, your 5-minute snacks, your busy meals, and you're going to get your meals that make you just feel good. Like, what are some feel good meals? Some staples that you just like to eat, whether it gives you like a nostalgia or a sensory experience when you're eating, whatever the case is. So breakfast, 5-minute snacks, busy day meals, and feel good meals, right? So you can get you there's Amazon has them. They have the list that you can put on your refrigerator, and you can write out your meals for the week and have that just stuck on your refrigerator. So you already know for the week what you're going to be eating, right? So make sure it is visible. It is posted on your refrigerator. It's in the kitchen. It's somewhere visible, not on your desk up in your office or wherever the case. Make sure that it's visible. And then that is the meal board method, right? So that is one method of kind of preparing meals for the week. The next method is called the theme day method. So you're going to take 2 to 3 days out of your week, and then you're going to give them themes. So Monday might be your quick meal theme, or quick and hot. So that might be something like tacos or burritos, or I don't know, maybe spaghetti, quick and hot, something that's real quick to prepare. It's a hot meal that you can get on the table easily. Wednesday nights, maybe you do a wrap or a bowl night. So that's the night you're going to have like you can put some rice in a crock pot or your Instapot, have that cooking, put some beans on the stove, and then if you have the shredded chicken or you have the rotisserie chicken, you can take the chicken and shred it up, cut you up some peppers and onions, and then that's a Wednesday night bowl meal. Or you can make it into a wrap, have tortillas available so you can make your wraps. Fridays can be leftover nights. For me, Fridays and Saturdays is always like leftover night. Hey Quinn, thank you to the live, I appreciate it. So Fridays can be your takeout or your leftovers, things that you have made throughout the week that maybe didn't get eaten. That's what you're going to do for Fridays. So that is your theme day method. And that's not an everyday method thing. You're going to pick about 3 days, 2 or 3 days out the week, and use that to plan your themes for the week. All right. So you're not necessarily choosing a meal. You're choosing a category to narrow down your options, so options are not overwhelming on those days. All right. Your next system or plan that you could use is called energy-based planning. So you have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, right? Thank you so much, Quinn. I appreciate you. So plan A might be, today I have energy, so I'm going to cook a real dinner, right? You just go based on how you're feeling that day, right? So plan A might be, I have the energy. Plan B might be, I'm tired, so I just need something that I can throw together quickly. And plan C might be, I'm not in the mood at all, I'm over it, so I will be ordering takeout. You can do takeout healthily if you plan for it, right? Or you can just have a night that maybe you didn't plan for. Maybe this is like once in a while thing. You're not eating out a lot, so you just eat out. You eat whatever you want. Whatever the case is, it is just to make sure that you are staying true to how you're feeling in the moment. And then you are cooking based on your energy level. So plan A is, I have the energy, I'm going to cook a real dinner. Plan B is, I'm tired, I'm going to throw something together. And plan C is, not in the mood, I'm going to order some takeout, or I'm just going to have a protein shake for dinner tonight. If you have kids, this might be a little bit harder to do. But like for me, my kids are older. So my plan C is, I'm done. Y'all feed yourselves and I'll figure out something for me. So but this system kind of helps to reduce the shame. You still ate, which is important. You want to eat. You don't want to not eat. So you still ate. That is the win, right? All right. So part those are the systems, right? So those are 3 systems that you can kind of consider on how you want to operate with your meal planning system, right? Now, we as Black women, we're taught to care for everyone else first. We want to stretch our food. Sometimes we skip meals, putting ourselves last. We're not eating regularly. Meal planning, is not just about nutrition. It's also about like resistance. It's also about saying that my health, my nourishment, making sure that I get what I need is important and it matters. So your plan doesn't have to be perfect. Your plan is your plan, right? So I want you all this week for like the assignment is to take time to think about what did you grow up learning about like feeding yourself. Take some time to reflect on that, and who taught you that it had to look a certain way. So who taught you that you had to have a full breakfast every morning? You had to take time to cook eggs, sausage, bacon, pancakes. Who taught you that breakfast had to look like that? Who taught you that dinner had to be a 5-course meal on Sundays? Who taught you that? Why is that ingrained in your mind? And so when that doesn't happen, you feel like a failure. You feel like, okay, well, I don't have the energy to do that, so I'm not going to do anything at all. Right? You got to break those chains or break the way of thinking. Just, take time to reflect on that. All right. So in your workbook this week, there is a meal planning worksheet. So you can take time this week or during the weekend, whatever, and just list your meals based on your energy levels. So like 15 meals, again, broken up by breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and then brainstorm just options for those low energy days, high energy days, and then based on the plans that we discussed, which one do you feel like will work for you? Or maybe you can try one this week and try a different one next week and see what you like. All right. So we're going to do a visualization exercise. So I want you to take time and just close your eyes and picture yourself or your kitchen as a place that is supportive to you, right? It's not a place that's stressful or overwhelming. Just think of it as a place that is supporting you, that is meant to nourish you, that is meant to sustain you, that is meant to give you the energy that you need to help support others, right? Picture yourself opening the fridge and just seeing choices that are doable for you, right? So whatever feels good for you to make sure that you're getting the nourishment that you need, just picture just opening the refrigerator and seeing those healthy, nourishing options available, yet they feel doable. All right. And then picture yourself eating or feeding yourself without feeling any form of guilt behind that. Right. So if you chose to have a protein shake instead of cooking a full course meal, there's no guilt behind that. You ate something that is nourishing for you, and that is positive. Right. So it's important to take time to envision those things. Maybe implement that throughout your week. So when you start feeling overwhelmed about cooking a meal, or I'm just going to get takeout because I don't have the energy, maybe take time to really just visualize the importance of nourishing your body and your brain. All right. So that is it, y'all, for this week's session. That was quick. We did that in 30 minutes. All right. So just know that you don't have to be like the perfect planner. You just need to find a system that honors your needs. Meal planning isn't necessarily a discipline that you have to have. It is a support system for you to manage your ADHD symptoms and to nourish your body, right? So just give yourself a pat on the back for even showing up for yourself. Even if your week is like messy, this is real life and you are doing the thing, right? Do I have a template for meal planning? Hey, Quinn, I do. It is in the workbook. Did I send that to you? I don't know if I sent you the workbook or not. But it is in the workbook. If you need it, let me know and I'll get it to you. But thank you, Quinn. Thank you for liking the live. Hello, Blair. Welcome to the live. Thank you for liking the live. So again, office hours may or may not be tomorrow. I mean, you all have my email. Okay, Quinn, I'll get it to you. If it's important for you to check in with me, let me know. You have my email. All of my people in my class, you all should have my email. So you can message me. You can find me in the Facebook group, and you can message me on the class dashboard if you really need to meet. I check in on Saturday mornings and nobody's here or whatever. So I may or may not check in tomorrow. But if you need any support, I am available through email and all the other options that I said. And you can always DM me on here as well. All right. So if you are in the group, I would love for you to post your meals this week. Post your favorite go-to meal. Use the workbook to make meal planning easier for you this week. And next week, we can chat about how well that worked for you all. Okay. All right. That's it, y'all. I will see you next week for our full conversation. Deuces.